Part 1. The Dent Nobody Looks At. How many times in your life have you almost not made it? Not the dramatic version, the ordinary version. A flight you moved for no good reason. An exit you took too early. A morning the car wouldn't start and you stood in the driveway swearing at a machine. You filed all of that under luck. Good luck, bad luck, the word doesn't matter. You filed it and you moved on. Tonight I want to hand you a different word. Drive any highway in this country long enough and you will pass a guardrail with a long dent pressed into it. Somebody hit that rail, it held. They went home that night and ate dinner with their family. And every day since, 10,000 cars have gone past that dent, and not one person has turned their head to look at it. Your life has dents like that in it, places where something stopped you hard, and you were so busy being angry about being stopped that you never noticed you were still breathing on the other side of it. Edgar Cayce was a photographer from Hopkinsville, Kentucky, who would lie down flat on a couch, close his eyes, and speak. He did that for more than 40 years. More than 14,000 of those sessions were written down and kept. They are still kept in Virginia Beach, where anyone can walk in and read them. In those pages, he came back again and again to one idea. He said some souls move through this world inside a closed ring. They are not permitted to leave early, not while the thing they came here to do is still sitting unfinished in their hands. And he left. 7 marks, 7 ways that ring shows itself in an ordinary life. They are arranged strangely, and I want you to notice the arrangement as we go. The first ones happen far away from you, out on the road, out among strangers, and then each one steps closer, to your money, to your skin, to your sleep, to the last 3 seconds before something terrible almost happened to you. Here is all I am asking tonight. Listen, and hold each one up against your own life. When one of them lands when you feel that cold drop under your ribs because you know exactly which night I am describing, put that number in the comments. Keep counting as we go. By the end, the number you have collected is going to answer the question you were already carrying when you clicked on this. Let's go through the first door. Part 2, the ones that go past you. The first mark is the one you have the most evidence for, and the one you have thought about the least. Live long enough, and you start to notice that the truly bad things in your life have a habit of going past you instead of through you. They come close enough that you can hear them. You were on that road an hour before it closed. You knew somebody in that building. You had a ticket for that night. And then, at the exact second that decided everything, you were somewhere else. 5 minutes behind because you could not find your keys. Sick to your stomach an hour before you were supposed to leave, for no reason a doctor ever explained. Or you simply changed your mind at the last minute and could not give the person waiting for you a single good reason why. And notice what you did with that. You apologized for it. You called yourself careless, scattered, flaky, unreliable. You spent that whole evening annoyed at yourself for a delay that turned out to be the reason you are alive. Then the news came in the morning and something went very quiet in your chest. A man once told me about a night drive he still cannot talk about without going quiet. Interstate, a little after 11, 3 hours from home. A few miles past the state line, red and blue lights filled his mirror. Taillight out. He pulled onto the shoulder and sat there gripping the wheel, furious at the whole evening. The officer took his time with it, ran the license, walked a slow circle around the truck, and finally handed him a written warning and told him to get the bulb fixed in the morning. 22 minutes on that shoulder. He pulled back onto the interstate doing the math on how late he was going to be. And a few exits up, traffic dropped to 1 lane, and he crawled past a guardrail on the curve of an overpass, folded nearly in half, glass all over the lane. Whatever hit it had come through only minutes ahead of him in the exact stretch of road where he would have been. He never threw that warning away. It is still in his glove box under the registration. A slip of paper about a taillight that was the shape the rescue took that night. 1, escape, and you call it luck. 2, and you call it a coincidence and you tell it at parties. But when you sit down and count your own life honestly, and you find 3, 4, 5 times that a catastrophe missed you by the width of a decision, then the word luck stops doing any work at all. Cayce put it very plainly in those pages. You did not escape, you were moved. Think about what an air traffic controller does. 2 aircraft are converging and neither pilot can see it. Nobody on board feels anything dramatic. One of them gets a heading change, a small turn, a mild annoyance in an otherwise ordinary flight. The passengers never learn what that turn was for. They complain about the extra 11 minutes. That is what most of your delays have been. Small headings, mild annoyances. 11 minutes you resented. And here is the part I need you to hear correctly, because it is the part people get wrong and then carry badly for years. You were not kept because you are a better person than the ones who were not kept. That is not how any of this works, and anyone who tells you otherwise is selling you something cruel. You are kept the way a bridge is kept closed after the concrete is poured. Nobody opens it to traffic while it is still curing. Not because the bridge is special, because the work is not finished. The ring around you has never once been about comfort. It has been about a process that is still running. So that is the first mark, and it happens out at a distance on roads, in weather, in buildings you were supposed to be inside of. But there is a danger that never comes at you with the sound of an engine. It walks in with a good handshake and a very warm smile, and it is already standing next to you. Part 3. The ones who fall on their own. The second mark, and here the ring steps in closer. It stops bending traffic out on the highway and starts working inside the room you are actually sitting in. The second mark is this. The people who set out to damage you come apart on their own, and the people who drain you drift away without you ever having to do anything about it. Sit down some evening and walk back through the last 10 years of your life. Not the highlights. The people. The one who took credit for your work in front of the people who mattered. The one who ran a quiet campaign about your character in rooms you were not in. The one who set something up so that when it failed, it would land on your name and not theirs. Where are they now? Not one of them is anywhere near your life. And the thing that should stop you cold is the next part. You never did anything about it. You did not counterattack. You did not build a case. You did not make a single phone call to even the score. You went quiet and you stepped back and you let it be. And from the outside, it looked like you were soft. It looked like you could be pushed. And the traps came apart in midair anyway. The story about you turned around and started telling on the person who was telling it. The one who wanted your chair lost their own in a way that had nothing to do with you and that you found out about secondhand a year later in a parking lot. Real things happened to those people. Not because you willed it, you were busy living an ordinary, honest life and you genuinely were not thinking about them. Here is the mechanic of it as far as I understand it. Every piece of harm a person sends out has a return address on it, and the return address is theirs. It cannot be mailed any other way. So the campaign against you moved through the world like a package addressed wrong. It got handled, it got sorted, and one day it landed back on the porch of the person who shipped it postage due. And you never signed for a thing. You were inside with the lights on, making dinner, and the whole delivery happened without you. Cayce said something about this that took me years to actually understand. He said a soul carrying an assignment cannot afford to spend itself on hatred, so the work of justice is taken off that soul's desk and handled elsewhere. Read that again with your own life in mind. Have you ever wondered why you are so bad at holding a grudge? Everyone around you can maintain a feud for a decade. They keep it fed, they can recite it. And you try, you genuinely try, and by the third week you have lost interest in it. You cannot make the fire stay lit. You have been treating that as a weakness in your character, as proof that you do not stand up for yourself. Something in you understood a long time ago that revenge is expensive and that your account was never funded for it. You are not being asked to forgive anybody tonight. I am not going to hand you that assignment. I am telling you that the reason you have empty hands is that they were kept empty on purpose for something else. So the ring has bent your roads and cleared the people out of your way. The next place it works is the one you would never expect, because it is the place you have spent your whole adult life worrying about. Part 4. Always exactly enough. The third mark, and this one is going to sting a little, because you have been reading it upside down for years. You are not a wealthy person. Look at the whole run of your life and there has never been a season where money stopped being something you think about. And in that same whole run of your life, you have never once been finished off. Never actually on the street. Never actually out of options. Never the phone call you could not make to anybody. Close, more than once. Close enough to lie awake doing arithmetic at 3 in the morning. But the door has never fully shut, and you have been too busy surviving to notice that it has never fully shut. The third mark is that the money arrives exactly to size. Never enough to make you comfortable, never so little that you go down. Cayce called this one of the clearest signatures of a soul that is carrying something. Think about driving across the empty part of this country. Wyoming, Nevada, the long stretches where the map goes quiet. The stations out there sit about one tank apart. That is how the road was built to be survivable. Now imagine somebody handed you a tank 4 times that size, so you would never have to think about it again. You would be hauling that weight up every grade for the whole trip, and it would eat your brakes and your engine and your nerve. Too small a tank, and you die out there between exits. What you were given is the tank that gets you to the next station, every single time, and not 1 gallon past it. So you live in a strange double state that nobody around you can see. On the inside, it feels like scraping, like being 1 bad month from the edge, permanently, for 20 years. And on the record, looking back honestly, help has arrived every single time. Late. Always late. Never absent. The old debt that came back the same week the hospital wanted a payment plan. The work that showed up 9 days after the other work ended from someone you had not spoken to in years. The book somebody left at your house that you did not open for a year, and then opened in the exact month you needed it. None of it was ever promised in advance. None of it ever showed up in a plan. It opened the moment your hand actually touched the wall. And here is the part that took me the longest to accept about my own life. There is a valve on that flow, and the valve does not respond to how hard you work. It responds to why you are working. Watch what happens when you take something on out of greed, or to prove a point to someone who will never watch, or to buy a version of yourself that will finally quiet the fear. It stalls every time. The sure thing collapses in the last week for reasons that make no sense to anybody involved. And watch what happens when you build something because it needs to exist, and you happen to be the one who can build it. The resources come in from the side of the room, never a flood, enough to keep the thing burning. You have been carrying this as a grievance. 20 years of just enough, and you have read it as being held back. You are being carried at the weight and the speed that lets you finish a long trip. So let me give you something to do about it tonight, and it takes under 5 minutes. Before you put your phone on the charger, take a piece of paper and write down 3 times in your life when help arrived at the last possible minute. 3 lines. No detail, no story. Just enough that you know which one it is. Then put the 3 next to each other and look at the dates. You are going to see that whatever has been holding you has never once been early and has never once failed to show up. Money is still outside of you, though. It sits in an account and you can lose all of it in a season. The next place the ring works is not outside of you at all. It is under your skin, and it has been running the whole time. Part 5. The body gets there first. There is a kind of knowing that arrives in your stomach a long time before it reaches your head. You have had it. You are sitting across a table from someone whose paperwork was clean and whose references checked out. The room was fine. The coffee was fine. The handshake was warm. And somewhere under your ribs, quietly, a hand closed. You talked yourself out of it. Almost everyone does. We were raised to treat the body as transportation, a thing that carries the head around and occasionally needs a doctor. The 4th mark says the body is doing far more than that. It registers the danger first, and once you have already fallen, it refuses to let you stay down. Those are 2 separate jobs, and they arrive in 2 different seasons of a life. Start with the first one, the early warning. Gavin de Becker spent a career protecting people who were being hunted. He sat with them afterward and asked what they remembered. The same thing kept coming back the person almost always knew. Before anything happened, something in them had already gone still, or gone cold, or wanted very badly to leave the room. And then they talked themselves out of it, because they did not want to be rude, because they did not want to be dramatic, because they did not want to be wrong about somebody in front of other people. Antonio Damasio spent his life studying the same border from the other side, and found that the body settles on its answer before the reasoning ever begins. The stomach has already voted. The mind shows up late and takes credit for the decision. So here is a line you need to be able to draw, because most people never learn it and it costs them. Worry is fog. It lasts all week. It attaches itself to whatever it drifts past your kid, your job, a sound the house made at 2 in the morning. The other signal is nothing like fog. It is short. It is specific. It arrives at one exact moment and it says one sentence. Stop. Don't take another step. Think of the rumble strip cut into the shoulder of a highway. You don't hear it for 100 miles. You hear it for 1 second, and that second is the one you needed. People who learn to trust that sound find out later what it had been standing between them and the opportunity that turned out to be a hole with a floor painted over it. The pleasant man everybody vouched for, who left a slow, quiet damage behind in every place he had ever been. That is your body standing watch while you are still too trusting to be afraid. But you will not always be listening. That is the honest part. There are seasons when you override the signal on purpose, because you want the thing badly enough. And there are seasons when it comes at you so fast that no warning would have helped. So you fall, really fall, and down at the bottom, your body starts its second job. Go back and look at the worst stretch you have lived through. The year you can barely stand to describe out loud. Maybe there was a hospital in it, maybe a bed you did not get out of for a long time, in a room where the blinds stayed shut. Maybe the people around you had quietly begun making plans for a version of you that was never coming back. And then something in you got up. Not gracefully, not on schedule. You got up, and the getting up did not match anything anyone around you had predicted. Cayce had a phrase for it. He said, "A soul carrying an unfinished assignment gets its function maintained. The body is kept running because the work is not done." I want you to look at the scars you carry. The surgical ones. The stupid ones from when you were 19. The ones nobody can see. You have been reading them as evidence that life was hard on you. Read them the other direction. Every one of them is a place where something reached in and pulled you back. A guardrail does not save you gently. It is steel. It is bolted into the ground, and when it does its job, it hurts. You walk away with your ribs bruised and your car ruined and your hands shaking on the wheel. And you walk away. You are not handed a soft life. You are handed a body that will not let you finish early. So here is the small thing I want you to do tonight. It takes under 2 minutes. Before you get into bed, find the oldest scar on you. Put your hand flat on it. Say out loud what year it is from. That's all. Don't explain it. Don't turn it into a ceremony. Put your hand on the place and name the year. And while your hand is still there, something is going to land on you that you were a whole person in that year, with plans, and almost nothing that has mattered most in your life had happened yet. Your body has been an instrument this entire time. It reads the room before you do, and it will not quit before the work is finished. There is one more layer underneath it, and it is the one you would least like to look at. Because the danger out on the road came from the world. The danger in that handshake came from a stranger. What comes next came from you. Part 6. The wreck you caused yourself. The fifth mark, and this is the one people flinch from, so I'm going to say it straight. There is a kind of ruin that does not arrive from outside. You built it. You had every warning, and you went ahead anyway. The affair. The money you moved. The thing you said in the meeting. The night you decided you knew better than every single person who loved you. And you have been sitting in that wreckage ever since, sorting through it, trying to work out how somebody like you did something like that. The fifth mark is that the mistakes that cost you the most are the ones that turned you toward where you actually belong. Cayce called it a course correction, not a punishment, a correction. You already know exactly what this feels like, because you have a device in your car that does it 40 times a year. You miss the turn, and the voice does not raise itself, and it does not tell you what it thinks of you. It says recalculating, and it starts building a new route from wherever you actually are, which is the only place any route can ever start from. Sometimes the correction cuts deeper than a new route. Out west, forest crews walk into perfectly healthy timber and set it on fire on purpose. They call it a prescribed burn low flame, moving slow, eating the dead brush off the floor. Anybody driving past sees black ground and smoke and calls it a disaster. Then years later, the real fire comes roaring down the ridge, hits that burned strip, runs out of fuel, and dies right there. Some of what you have been calling the ruin of your life was a burn line. It took things from you early so that the fire that was coming could not take everything. There is a woman I think about when this comes up. 14 years as a nurse. And good at it, the kind patients ask for by name. Then a car wreck, and a back that never healed right, and a prescription that ran out long before the pain did. You can hear where this goes. She started taking pills off the supply cart at work. It took about a year to catch up with her. She lost the license, and when you lose the license, you lose the whole identity that came with it. The scrubs, the title, the answer to the question, so what do you do? She got clean the slow way. Church basements, bad coffee, saying her first name out loud to a circle of strangers, one Tuesday at a time. Today she runs the front desk at a recovery house 2 towns over. She makes a fraction of what she used to, Small apartment, old car, one good coat. But when somebody walks through that door lying about how bad it is, and they all walk in lying, she is the one person in the building who cannot be fooled. She has sat exactly where they are sitting. She told me the pills took everything she had built, and she will not dress that up. Then she said the strangest thing. She said the woman at that front desk is the first version of herself she has ever fully recognized. Here is what I want you to take from that, and it is an uncomfortable idea. You are never protected from making the mistake. You are protected from the mistake being permanent. That distinction is the whole thing. Read it again if you need to. Think about a woodworker with a good board that has a knot in it. A knot is a flaw. It is the place the wood is hardest and least willing. An amateur cuts around it and throws that piece away. Somebody who actually knows the material turns the board and puts the knot where the joint will take the most load. The flaw ends up being the strongest point in the finished thing, and it is the part people put their hand on. And there is a second inheritance from all of this that you have already received without noticing. You cannot look at a person who has fallen and write them off anymore. You have lost the ability. Everyone around you can do it easily. They read a headline about somebody's worst week, and they file the whole human being under it. You cannot get there, because you know from the inside that there are things a person can only learn by being wrong in public. That is what the wreck bought you, and it cost you a great deal. So far, every single one of these has happened in daylight, while you were awake and able to argue with it. But the clearest work the ring does happens at the one time you have no defenses up at all. Part 7. The Night Watchman. The 6th mark, and then the 7th, which is the shortest and the strangest of all of them. The 6th mark is that some of your dreams have arrived as maps. I need to be precise about this, because most dreams are not this. Most of them are the mind sorting the day, and they dissolve before you get to the kitchen. I am talking about the rare one, the one you can still describe in detail years later. You know the kind. It was more distinct than the room you woke up in, the color of a coat, the exact tone of somebody's voice, a hallway in a building you have never set foot in. And the part that unsettles you is not the images. It is what was waiting for you when you opened your eyes. You woke up already holding an instruction, fully formed, no reasoning attached to it, a road not to take, a deal to stop. A face you have known for 15 years, wearing its real shape for the first time, and then a week later the thing happened out in the world, and it matched what you had been shown down to details you could not have guessed. Cayce explained it this way. In deep sleep, the defensive self puts its weapons down, and with the guard off duty, the soul is briefly free of clock time and can read the branches of what is still forming. Look out your kitchen window on a storm day and you can see one sky, the one sitting over your own house. That is your waking mind, and it is doing its best. The radar loop on the evening news sees the whole front at once curved across 3 states, and which county it is going to cross at 6 o'clock. A dream like that is a night spent in front of the radar. The warning arrives early, while the front is still 2 states away, and there is still time to move. And the watchman does not knock every night. That is how you know what he is. He does not come to entertain you, and he does not come to flatter you. Most nights he lets you sleep. He wakes you at hinges. When you are about to put your trust in the wrong hands, when something is coming up behind you, when you are one signature away from the wrong decade. That is why those mornings feel the way they do, body tired, like you traveled, and the mind unusually clear. You are not confused on those mornings. You know precisely what you are about to say no to. So here is what to do with that, starting tomorrow, and it costs you nothing. Put a pen and a piece of paper on the nightstand before you sleep tonight. At first light, before the phone gets into your hands, write down one word from wherever you have just been. One word. Not a description, not an interpretation. Whatever is still there in the first 10 seconds. Do that for a week and look at the 7 words together. The watchman has been on duty for years. This is just the first time you have taken his notes. Which brings me to the 7th mark, and this one does not need the dark or a night's sleep to reach you. It arrives in daylight, and the whole thing is over in about 3 seconds. Everyone who has had this remembers it identically. There was no time to think. There was no thinking in it at all. The wheel went the right direction. Your arm came out and caught the back of a jacket. You were on your feet before you understood you had stood up, and you did it perfectly, precisely. A thing you had never been taught and had never once practiced. Then it was over, and you were standing there breathing hard, looking down at your own two hands like they belong to somebody else. Cayce called that a temporary union with a larger consciousness. For a few seconds, the wall between the ordinary person and the source of the thing is simply not there. Because in that particular window, the decision was not allowed to be wrong. You have seen what one flash of lightning does over a dark field. For half a second, everything goes white, and you see the one thing that matters, the ditch, the wire fence, the drop, exactly where your next step was going. Then the dark comes back. The flash gave you exactly one step, and that one step was the whole reason it came. And here is how you can tell someone this has happened to. They do not tell the story at dinner parties, and they do not think they are remarkable. They come away smaller than they went in because they understood something in those 3 seconds that is difficult to carry. Their hands had been borrowed, briefly, for a survival that somebody else had a use for. Part 8. Count your number. So we have gone all the way around, and the ring has closed. Before you count, I have to take something away from you, because a great many people have this backwards and it makes them bitter. They believe that being protected means being given an easy life, comfort, good weather, a run of decades where nothing lands on you. Cayce said the opposite. In language that is fairly blunt, the ring is not there to keep you comfortable. It is there so that you can take more weight than an ordinary life would take without breaking. You are not kept back from the storm, you are kept through it. The way a person is pulled alive out of a flooded town and then spends the next 10 years going back into it to help pull the roofs off houses. Nothing is holding you here so that you can sit on the side and enjoy the view. The investment was made for something else. Now count the catastrophes that went past you instead of through you. The people who meant you harm and came apart without any help from you. The money that has been exactly enough for your entire adult life. The body that warned you and then refused to let you stay down. The wreck you built yourself, that turned out to be the turn. The dream that was a map. The 3 seconds you have never been able to explain. If you counted one, smile at it. Call it a good day. Some things really are only luck. If you counted 3 or more, and most of you counted more than 3, then I am going to ask you to stop using that word about your own life. Every near disappearance, every mistake that should have finished you, every illness people were quietly preparing for, none of it was punishment. All of it was a holding action. You are still here because there is something in your hands that has not been handed over yet, and nobody else has the hands for it. If you carry 3 things out of tonight, carry these. The first, you did not survive by luck. You were held because a process is still running. The second, the losses and the hard turns were not a punishment. They were the road being cleared in front of you. The third, protection has never meant a life without storms. It means being built to go through them without coming apart. So before the screen goes dark and before you move on to something else, give me 5 minutes. Take a small piece of paper, write down the number you counted tonight. Under the number, write one line, in your own handwriting. What is still unfinished that only my hands can do? Fold it once. Put it where your eyes land first in the morning. The mirror, the coffee maker, the inside of the cabinet you open before you are awake. You do not need to answer the question tonight. You need to be asked it every morning until it answers itself. And then tell me down in the comments which of the 7 made you stop the longest, and which escape from your own past do you only tonight understand the reason for. Write it if you can. Somebody is going to scroll past your sentence at 2 in the morning on the worst night of their life, and it is going to be the thing that holds them. If you want to keep walking through this with me, subscribe. I am Solen, and I will be here. This is a quiet corner of the internet. We are not chasing miracles here. We are trying to understand why the soul keeps choosing to stay. Thank you for coming through the weather to be here tonight. And go easy with the rest of it, the part of your life that was kept back for you. Somebody out there is still waiting on the thing that only you can hand them.